What is up, guys? Alex here from technoclass.com, coming to you with a quick unboxing of the Motorola Moto E 2nd Gen or 2015. And this is the LTE variant, a 4.5-inch quarter HD display and Snapdragon 410 processor. Is priced at $6,999. Price-wise, this is one of the entry-level Motorola's, but if you compare it to a lot of competitive Chinese brands or local brands, technically, the specs aren't that high, but of course, what you're paying for here is the Motorola design and build quality, and of course, all its extra features from the Motorola UI and its stock Android beauty. Anyway, like I said, not so high in specs, but what you're paying for here is the Motorola design. We'll see that in just a bit. Here is our unboxing. Alright, so if you're not familiar with it, Motorola used to be owned by Google up until recently was bought by Lenovo, and that's why a lot of these phones are brilliantly made by in stock Android feel and design. The built-in battery is already in there, so I'll just boot it up. And inside the box we have a 3.5mm headphone jack. These are Motorola branded, these are not generic. It's very hard to see, but they have a logo of Motorola in there. Inside here we have a charging cable that you cannot detach from the power plug. The adapter gives us 5 volts, 550 milliamps, a nice color leaflet, how to use your phone. Here's a, what is this, limited warranty for mobile phones, and Safe Smart Protected, how to, maintain your device. So that's it for the box. Alright, so here is the Motorola Moto E, as you can see, unboxed and in my hands. And it actually, even though it's kind of a smaller phone, actually my fingers lie on the camera module instead of the little dimple right there. It's you should move it a little bit lower, but the phone itself feels really solid. If you remember what a Nokia would feel like, this is what essentially a Motorola feels like, a solid, well-built device. And of course, well, all of that high quality Motorola touches. But this is essentially a entry-level device, and as you can see, we have a 4.5-inch Quarter HD IPS display. Quarter HD means 960 by 540. That means it's not even HD. Even if your camera can record HD video, you won't be able to play it back. You're only playing it by 960 by 540. I don't really mind. This is, I believe, a PPI about 200 pixels per inch, which isn't so bad. Of course, if you have a larger display, then you have some issues with that pixelation. Up on the top here, we have a speaker grill and earpiece. So this is essentially the speaker grill where music comes out of, or videos, or other kind of media. As you can see, if you look around the device, there is no other speaker grill because the earpiece itself is the speakers for this phone. That's a different design point compared to a lot of other devices. Next to that is a VGA front-facing camera, which won't wow anybody. Of course, it's only VGA, and probably somewhere around there are some proximity and light sensitivity sensors. On the bottom, you have no capacitive buttons on the bezels themselves because the capacitive buttons are on the screen, because this is stock Android. Back, home, and recent key right there. Now, given that the screen is small and this is an entry-level Motorola, I don't mind that the bezels are slightly bigger than usual. It actually helps in the ergonomics department because, as you can see, my hand is pretty big and this fits in my palm, and it will be hard to hold if the bezels were any thinner. Now, I don't know if you've noticed, but this phone has a bit of chunk to it. I wouldn't say it's chubby or anything, but it is hefty and a bit of thickness going on here. But that's because it has a large 2390 milliamp hour battery. And of course, it feels solid in the hand. That's probably, the design aesthetics or design process of Motorola shining through, making this phone, even a entry-level, low-end price device, a very solid build. What's probably the most interesting about this Motorola product, and a large departure from a lot of other brands, is how you insert your SIMs and stuff. You actually pop open the side. Now, I got scared because I thought I was breaking the phone. You remove the sides and the sides come off, and not the back. and you can see you have a micro SD card slot, a SIM 1, and a SIM 2. These are LTE capable, though I don't know if SIM 2 is LTE capable. Now on this side, you'll notice there's a bit of a paper flap right there. That's where the IMEI numbers and NTC, logos and stuff are hidden. So you don't need to see it, but if you want to see it, you pull on that tab. Once the sides are back on, as you can see, these sides are made of a rubbery textured grip. That is sort of, I guess, kind of like a sportsman's glove or something like that. It's very grippy. And here is a textured power button and another textured or a shiny volume rocker. So you'll feel where the power button is with just by feeling the texture, and you'll know this is the volume rocker just by feeling it's being shiny or glossy. On the back, you have a very rubbery, soft touch plastic that has oodles of grip. So if you put it on your table, it won't slip at all. And also you have that Motorola logo in the middle with a little bit of a dimple, so you can put your finger on that. Of course, like I said, in the ergonomics part, it's a little bit lower because of the smaller screen. I tend to put my finger on the camera module itself. Of course, the camera module, I don't really mind smudging my camera, I just wipe it off, but it's a 5 megapixel camera with no LED flash. With a noise cancellation microphone, and this is an autofocus module. The older version of the Moto E had a fixed focus camera. On the bottom, you have a micro USB port for charging and data transfer, and I believe that is the microphone over there on the back. On top, you have a 3.5mm headphone jack with a little bit of that Moto curve that we see even in their highest end devices and even on the newest ones, including the Moto X Play and the Moto X Style. And I do like that touch. Gives it a little bit of that curvature. Now, we don't want to get into too much of the Android software here, especially since we will be talking about that and our first impressions or our initial review later on another video. But as you can see, we are running on nearly bone stock Android here with some Motorola customizations. There are some missing compared to the Moto X 2nd Gen that I reviewed that I absolutely love. A really cool form of ambient display returns from the Moto X, if you remember my review. This time it's a little bit more limited because of the limited features of this phone. You can't wave your hand, or actually sometimes you can, but mostly if you pick it up, that's when the ambient display shows up. Because it detects the motion of the body of the phone. So at least if you pick it up, the ambient display works compared to the Moto X 2nd Gen that I review, where you can just wave your hand. Software-wise, we're running Android 5.0 Lollipop. Unfortunately, here in the Philippines, the variant that we got has not gotten the Android 5.1 Lollipop update, but there are several other variants in other countries have already gotten the 5.1 update. Hopefully, we can get that as well. But as you can see, this is a fairly smooth interface, but I have to admit the memory is a little bit low at 1 gigabyte. That could definitely slow you down once you have a lot of apps, but we'll talk about that later when we post our initial review or our first impressions of the Moto E 2nd Gen or 2015. But so far, that is it for our unboxing. Alex from thetechnoclass.com here. Thanks very much for watching. And that has been our Moto E 2nd Gen unboxing. Thanks.